Hi everyone, my name's Ian and I'd like to welcome you to church today. It's really great that you can join us, and a special welcome to our kids and our families who are watching in today. It's really awesome that you can be here. Just a reminder that Kids Church Online is up on our kids YouTube page, so why don't you go in and have a look there. Also on our family resources page on our website, there's a whole bunch of things that you can print out and do together, so look in there too. I hope you're having a really great long weekend, and I hope you're excited about going back to school sometime in person in the future. And won't it be exciting when we can be together at church, together in person in the future? I hope you're looking forward to that. Well, as we go through today, there's going to be a crossword that comes up next to me. Now, you need to make sure that you're listening in really closely so that when I ask you the question, you will know the answer to go in the right spot on the crossword. Well, over the last couple of weeks, we've been learning about God's grace. Now, God's grace is amazing. Grace isn't something that we just say before dinner, or it isn't just the way that some people move gracefully, but do you remember, God's grace is His amazing kindness and love and forgiveness for us that is shown in Jesus. Okay, question number 1. What have we been learning about? God's transforming what? God's transforming what? Well, the right answer is God's transforming grace. Totally. Well, we learned in the first week that God is so gracious to us and He is so kind that He gives us something that we don't deserve. We don't deserve His love and His kindness and His forgiveness, but because of His amazing love, He gives us His Son Jesus. Now, we don't deserve Jesus dying on the cross for us, but He gave us something that He didn't deserve, a great gift, forgiveness and an eternal future to look forward to. Okay, question number 2. Grace is something we don't what? Grace is something we don't what? Well, the answer is grace is something that we don't deserve. That's right. Last week, we also learned about how God's grace transforms us. Do you remember Saul? Do you remember him? He was somebody who hated Jesus and hated His followers, but his life was transformed. Jesus met him and his life was transformed from somebody who hated Jesus to somebody who loved Jesus and wanted others to know more about how amazing Jesus and about how amazing His grace is that transforms us. You see, God, because of His grace, transforms our lives. He gives us His Spirit and He changes us. Okay, question number 3. God doesn't leave us as sinful people. God's grace, us. God's grace, what is it? The answer is God's grace transforms us. That's right. Okay, today we're going to learn about how we should respond to God's grace. And to do that, I'm going to tell you a story from Luke chapter 17, verses 11 to 19. And the story that Luke tells us is all about Jesus and how different people respond to the grace that had been given to them. Okay, question number 4. Which book of the Bible is today's passage from? Which book of the Bible is today's passage from? Do you know? I said it's from something chapter 17. The answer is, it's from Luke chapter 17. We're going to be learning from Luke next year. That's pretty exciting. Luke tells us that one day Jesus was on His way towards Jerusalem. And on His way to Jerusalem, He went along the border of Samaria and Galilee. And as he was going into a village, 10 men with leprosy met Him. Now, leprosy was a horrible skin disease, and it made people sick. It was very contagious, and because of leprosy, people had to tell people they were coming, and they had to yell out, "Unclean, unclean!" Leprosy was very dangerous, and the people who had leprosy were very sad. Okay, question number 5. What skin condition did the men have? What skin condition did the men have? Did they have chickenpox? No. The answer is they had leprosy. That's exactly right. As they came to Jesus, surely He would run away and not heal them. Well, they knew who Jesus was, and He stood at a distance. They yelled out, "Jesus, Master, have pity on us." They knew that Jesus healed them, but surely Jesus would run the other way, wouldn't He? But no. Jesus responded. He said, "Go and show yourselves to the priests." And as those men went away, they realized that they had been healed from their leprosy. Okay, question number 6. What did Jesus do for the men? What did Jesus do for the men? Well, the answer is that He He healed them. Of course he did. Now surely because Jesus healed them, they would be so thankful and come back and just bow down before Jesus out of gratitude. Surely they would be so thankful. Well, no. After they were healed, 9 of the 10 men didn't even come back and say thanks. But one man did, and he wasn't even from Israel, he was from Samaria. He was so thankful that he came back and threw himself at Jesus' feet. He was so thankful for God's grace that Jesus had healed him, that he came and he worshipped Jesus. Okay, question number 7. Only one of the men was very what? Well, the answer is, he was very thankful. Well, Jesus was a bit puzzled. He had given the 10 men healing. He had given the 10 men grace. He had given them a massive gift that they didn't deserve. His grace had transformed their lives, but only one man was thankful. And because he was thankful, he worshipped and he praised Jesus. Jesus knew that this man's faith saved him. His faith had healed him. And because of that, he was thankful. He worshipped Jesus. Boys and girls, Jesus hasn't healed us from our leprosy, but he has done something far, far greater. You see, Jesus has given us his grace. He has forgiven us and made us his children, all because of his amazing love shown in Jesus. And God's grace transforms us to be more and more like Jesus. Here's a question: how should we respond to God's grace? What should we do because of God's amazing love to us? And that is question number 8. Because of God's grace, we should what? Him. Because of God's grace, we should... Oh, it's a bit trickier, isn't it? Because of God's grace, we should... Wait for it, I'll give you a clue. It starts with a word and ends in worship. Because of God's grace, we should worship God. That means give our lives to him, because we're incredibly thankful. We should serve him because we are thankful for everything that he has done for us in Jesus. We're going to find out a little bit more about that in Kids Church today and also in Big Church today, but how we live in response, a life of worship to God's grace. So how would I pray for us that we would learn and also that we would worship God in thankfulness because of everything that he has done for us? How would I pray? Dear God, thank you so much for your grace. Thank you that you have given us a gift that we don't deserve. Thank you that your grace changes us to be more like Jesus. Please help us be so thankful for everything Jesus has done for us. Please help us to give our whole lives to serve you and praise you and worship you, all because of what Jesus has done for us. Amen. All right, we'll see you in Kids Church.